Hello and thanks for joining us on Nationwide. I am Dennis Adegunloye. Eid Mubarak to our fellow Muslim brothers and sisters. And we begin with the celebrations as President Bola Tinubu is asking Nigerian Muslims and indeed all Nigerians to imbibe and carry on with the lessons of sacrifice of the season and play their individual roles towards actualizing a greater Nigeria. The president spoke to journalists after the Eid prayer led by the chief imam of Lagos State, Sheikh Suleiman Abunola, at the Dodan Barracks in Lagos. State House correspondent Musbao Danmahab reports.
President Bola Tinubu once again reunited with people in his hometown for the Salah celebration. It was for the two-standing prayer led by Lagos State Chief Imam at the Dodan Barracks. In the sermon, the Chief Imam, Sheikh Suleiman Oluwatoyin Abunola, acknowledged sacrifice, the essence of the festival, as part of the symbols of piety toward God. Citing the sacrifices made by Nigeria's forefathers for the existence and unity of the country, the Chief Imam admonished the citizens to always be conscious of their deeds to support nation building.
All their activities and actions were passionately geared towards our nation building. We must therefore ensure that their labor and struggles are not in vain. It is therefore incumbent on us to follow their footsteps in ensuring that great nation Nigeria continue to grow in leaps and bounds. We are also to note that Allah forbids any act of tribalism, terrorism, ethnic superiority amongst his servants, but he loves mutual cooperation, unity, compassion.
And for the president, the message and teaching of a season translate to patriotism and commitment on the part of the citizens.
Sacrifice, being a very good citizen, it comes with responsibilities as citizens. What do you do as a citizen to be a very committed member of our society? That's sacrifice. Loving your country, loving your neighbors, share what we have with each other, and be thankful to Almighty God.
The Chief Imam led a special prayer for more strength and wisdom for the president as he continues to lead the country aiming at greater peace and prosperity. From Lagos, Musbao Danmahab, NTA News.
Meanwhile, in Maiduguri, Vice President Kashim Shettima thronged together with other Muslims to observe the Eid al-Kabir prayer held at the Ramat Square. Here is State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila.
Imam Idaini of Borno, Sheikh Shettima Mamman Saleh, led the 2 rakat prayers with Vice President Kashim Shettima, Borno State Acting Governor Umar Usman Kadafur, the Sheikh of Borno Abubakar Ibn Garbe El Kanemi, and other stakeholders in the Borno Emirate Council. The Imam reminded Muslims on the need to pray for leaders as well as peace and harmony across the country.
We urge Nigerians to pray for the peace in the land and for prosperity. And this is the agricultural season. We hope and pray that we'll get a bumper harvest that will address some of the food security challenges we are facing. Beyond that, we want to emphasize on peace. We have to cultivate peace. We have to promote peace, because there can never be development without peace, and there can never be peace without development. They have to go on pari passu basis. So we have to rally our people to unite as a people and face our common challenges and avoid grandstanding.
Thank you. The Ramat Square Eid ground witnessed high turnout of worshippers, signifying the return of peace in the state. From Maiduguri, Borno State, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
And the Sultan of Sokoto and President General Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, Mohammed Saad Abubakar, was among thousands of Muslims that attended the Eid al-Kabir prayer at the Sokoto Central Eid ground. The 2 units' prayers were also attended by Sokoto State Deputy Governor Idris Mohammed Gobir, members of the State Executive Council, the legislature, among other Muslims.
Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'een.
A sermon, the chief imam enjoined Muslims to support one another and pray for the nation. Lessons of patience, sacrifice and obedience to Allah, as well as constituted authority, were the embodiments of the khutbah at the Abuja National Mosque ground as Muslims observed the 2 rakat spiritual prayers to mark this year's Eid al-Adha. Onotu Yakubu reports that the Imam of the National Mosque, Professor Ibrahim Makari, led worshippers to observe the prayer.
The heavens opened at the dawn of a new day in Abuja to usher in the festivity with a shower of more blessings. Therefore, the National Eid ground relocated to the National Mosque for the 2 rakah prayer.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Imam Ibrahim Makari's khutbah was emphatic on the lessons inherent in the celebration, with a charge on the Ummah to embody sacrifice and obedience, virtues of love, patience, as was demonstrated in obligation by the prophets Ibrahim, his son Ismail, and the noble prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
By Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's instruction, sacrifice for one's nation to defend his nation, defend our families, to defend our wills, to defend ourselves against this aggression.
Worshippers extolled the virtues they learned from the festival thus.
That we should be patient and tolerance and imbibe the culture of compassion, unity.
We should always obey the laws of the land, be patient.
I would like to make use of the lesson by sending messages to my loved ones, calling them and wishing them Eid Mubarak.
Of course, security of the worship centers in the territory on days like these is of paramount value.
The FCT were not just looking at just today alone. They've been preparing for it before, and it has come up now, and they still have the aftermath of whatever celebration we have today.
With the Imam slaughtering his sacrificial ram, he paves the way for members of his congregation here at the Abuja National Mosque, and as well the entire Muslim Ummah in the FCT, to go back home and begin the merrymaking to partake in the celebration of this very auspicious Eid al-Adha. In Abuja, Onotu Yakubu, NTA.
Former President Muhammadu Buhari says he is pleased that more Nigerians have taken to the farm to grow more food in order to bring prices down and feed the nation, giving a reminder that uncontrolled population growth is a matter of concern. Speaking to journalists shortly after joining the Emir of Daura, Dr. Umar Farouk, to observe the Eid prayer at the township Eid ground on Sunday, the former president said, quote, "I am wishing everyone a happy Salah. May this special festival bring joy, prosperity, and a wonderful health to everyone. I use this occasion to make an appeal to all citizens to make Nigeria self-reliant. Let us grow our own food. We have shown that we can do it. This is not the time to relent when we see prices going up. Let us buy what is produced in the country. The foundation of a prosperous and stable country has been laid by successive governments, and I encourage our youth in particular to continue to play an active role in the various nation-building efforts." End of quote. Now, messages of obedience, sacrifice, and assisting those in need, especially in this era of economic challenges, form the thrust of the Eid al-Adha sermon delivered by the Deputy Chief Imam of Mina, Malam Isa Jibrin Imam. Dauda Mohammed reports.
Men, women and children, colorfully dressed, defied the morning downpour to partake in the 2 units congregational prayer in commemoration of the day of Arafat held earlier. Malam Isa Jibrin Imam's sermon dwelled on the lesson in obedience by Prophet Ibrahim, who was willing to sacrifice his son Ismail due to God's command. The Imam enjoined Muslims to obey Allah at all times and be willing to assist those in need.
Everybody should join hands in ensuring that there is peace in the country. And I wish all Nigerians, the Muslim Ummah, Barakat Salah.
I pray we all have peaceful and successful Salah in Niger State.
And this is the right time for us to reflect of all the blessings that God have done for us. And you can see, despite the downpour of rain, everybody is here. And we're here with our elders, and we believe that Niger State is working and we will continue to work.
Prayers were offered for peace of the country and state, while in conformity with Allah's command, the Deputy Imam sacrificed a ram, giving indication for all to do so. In Mina, Dauda Mohammed, NTA News.
And still on Salah messages, Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin has enjoined Nigerians to continue to support government to address the challenges hindering the growth and development of the country. This formed part of his Salah message to Nigerians shortly after observing the 2 Rakat Eid prayers in Kabul local government area of Kano State. Habibu Husseini reports.
Imam Jafar Mustafa Kabu, leading the 2 Rakat Eid prayer. He reminded the Ummah of the need to remain peaceful and uphold the lesson of sacrifice which Eid al-Adha teaches. In the congregation are prominent personalities, including the Deputy President of the Senate, Barau Jibril, who used the occasion to inform Nigerians about government efforts towards improving the economy and addressing security challenges being faced in some parts of the country. Also appealed to Nigerians to continue to pray for President Bola Tinubu, who is doing everything possible to address the nation's development challenges.
The federal government is doing very well to diversify our economy, make it private sector based, and also increase our source of revenue. Improve on our sources of revenue. Also try to bring about peace, as I said earlier, security, and so on and so forth. Food security. So I call on Nigerians, all Nigerians, to give the necessary support to the government so that it's able to deal with the problem decisively.
He further stressed the importance of unity and support to one another among Nigerians.
From Yahaya Road, Jumat Mosque in Kaduna, Muslims, including the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, wants Nigerians to uphold the lessons of sacrifice being showcased as a strong pillar while remaining steadfast in contributing their quota towards nation building. Salihu Guanara reports that the 2 Rakat obligatory prayers were observed peacefully in Kaduna.
The early morning downpour in Kaduna could not prevent Muslim faithful from observing the 2 important Rakat prayers.
Chief Imam of Yahya Road Jumat Mosque, Muhammad Khalid's sermon emphasized that kindness and obedience to constituted authorities are necessary moral obligations of a Muslim faithful.
This sacrifice is for all of us to have a good life here and in the hereafter. And we do hope and we believe, as all Muslims and as all Nigerians, that at the end of the day, we will have a prosperous Nigeria and we'll have a fulfilled life, not only here, but also in the hereafter. We call on everybody to come together, to get united, to keep behind the President's message of hope, of resilience, of unity, and of patriotism in the interest of not just our country, but humanity as a whole.
Consistent with his desire towards national values rebirth through national reorientation, the minister believed prayer is key. And on a day like this, Sunday, members of both dominant religion in Nigeria have a role to play.
And we want to also express that the government, like Musa has indicated, is very much with the people. We've been trying to see that we can uplift the living standard of the people in every facet of our society.
The minister thereafter slaughtered a ram to fulfill the religious rites. In Kaduna, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
Similarly, the 2 Rakat Eid prayers were held peacefully across Kano State. Abdullahi Mustafa reports on the conduct of the prayers at the Kano Central Eid ground.
Early morning rain in many areas around the state, congregation at the Kano Central Eid ground moved to the nearby Sheikh Ahmad Tijani Jumat Mosque. Governor Bakabir Yusuf and other prominent people observed the 2 Rakat prayers led by Emir Muhammad Sanusi II. His sermon centered on the need for Muslims to use the season of Eid al-Adha, which represents sacrifice in bringing succor to the sufferings of the less privileged amongst them. Governor Bakabir Yusuf thanked the people of Kano for their peaceful conduct and urged them to remain supportive to his administration.
The government of Kano State is doing everything possible to protect their lives as well as the property. So I want to urge all Muslims to remain calm and to be able to love one another for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Thereafter, Governor Yusuf monitored the slaughter of sacrificial animals and distribution of the meat to the needy in Kano. Abdullahi Mustafa.
The national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, extends his warmest congratulations to the Muslim Ummah in Nigeria on the occasion of Eid al-Kabir. In a statement, he notes that the festival of sacrifice is a celebration of faith, obedience and devotion which promotes harmony among all Nigerians. He also wants Nigerians to reflect on the lessons of the festival by sustaining its values and principles and support the government to succeed. Also, the Inter-Party Advisory Council felicitates with Muslims on this year's Eid al-Kabir celebration, urging them to use the occasion to pray and renew their faith in Allah and in the nation. In a statement, IPAC urges the Muslim Ummah and all Nigerians to imbibe the virtues of obedience, sacrifice, love, tolerance, peace and patriotism as government strives to build a strong, virile, united, progressive, equitable and prosperous democratic society. Similarly, the People's Democratic Party felicitates with Muslims on this year's Eid al-Kabir, urging Nigerians to use the occasion to strengthen bonds of unity, love and mutual respect. The PDP, however, urged Nigerians not to despair but continue to reach out, share and care for one another. And former Vice President Atiku Abubakar congratulates Muslims on the celebration of this year's Eid al-Kabir festival, calling it a celebration of God's love and mercy to mankind. He calls on governments at all levels to be deliberate in initiating measures that will ease the hardship that confronts Nigerians. And still on the Eid messages, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, rejoices with all Muslims on the occasion of Eid al-Kabir. In a statement, the CDF says, no doubt, the sacrifices of Prophet Ibrahim serve as a reference point for loyalty and dedication to Almighty Allah, noting that members of the armed forces of Nigeria remain committed to the democratic tenets and protecting Nigerians. And joining us live now in the studio, we have the Chief Imam, Abu Huraira Mosque, Wuse Zone 7, Abuja, Ustaz Muhammad Umar Sanda. Barka da Salah to you and welcome to our studios.
Barka da Salah.
All right, can you explain the spiritual significance of Eid al-Kabir and how it embodies the values of sacrifice, obedience and devotion to Allah? How can these values unite Nigerians across different faiths and backgrounds?
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. My brothers and sisters, actually one of the significance of Eid al-Adha is to encourage Muslim Ummah to reflect on the sacrifice to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala and to others, to the Ummah as a whole, by implementing or showing compassion, love and harmony and so on. If you look at wisdom behind some of the teachings or activities of the Eid al-Adha, you realize that Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when you sacrifice and you slaughter the ram, you have to share the ram into three. One, you consume, you eat with your family, you use it in your household. And the second one, or the second part of it, is to give your neighbor as a gift. Your neighbor be, either is a Muslim or is a Christian, you give that meat to them. It means it's teaching us love, harmony and compassion between one another. By giving your neighbor part of the meat, either he's a Muslim or he's a Christian or whoever he is, it means it's actually encouraging and teaching us, to be compassionate and to be close to each other and to be merciful to each other. The third one is to give to the needy. Needy be your driver, your workers, house girls, house boys, or whomever. Those needies you are urged or asked to give them as charity. That's the third part of the meat. That's what Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam asked us to do. It means it's teaching this Eid al-Adha sacrifice, slaughtering rams and whatever, is teaching us to be compassionate, to be, to love one another, to, show some sacrifice. And some of the teachings also, in the whole celebration is for one to also learn a strong sacrifice, have faith on Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, because of the the original teaching, which is the the action of the Ibrahim alayhi salam. I heard you just one of the imams you put on your mention it. It's the sacrifice of Ibrahim alayhi salam, the teaching and the wisdom and the lessons behind it are teaching Muslims to have faith. Whatever situation you find yourself in, you should have strong faith in Allah or on Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, that Allah is going to bring sanity and things are going to be okay by God's grace. That is because when Allah asked him to slaughter his son, he have the faith on Allah that definitely, since Allah asked him to do it, he's going to sacrifice that to obey Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. That faith and sacrifice, Muslims are encouraged, are also asked to learn from that and also implement it in their daily life.
All right, Ustaz Muhammad Umar Sanda, Chief Imam of Abu Huraira Mosque, Wuse Zone 7, many thanks for coming in to talk to us. And once again, Barka de Salah to you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, and Barka de Salah to all Nigerians.
All right, let's now head to our first port of call, which is Jos, and Bilkisu is our guide. Hello, Bilkisu. How is the Salah celebrations there in Jos?
To Jos, the Salah celebration is going smoothly. Messages of peace, love for one another, unity among Nigerians, as well as support for the nation's leadership dominated Eid al-Kabir messages. Eid al-Kabir prayers within Jos Metropolis. Indiang and Abuja reports.
The festival of Eid al-Kabir shows the willingness of Prophet Ibrahim to sacrifice his son Ismail, and it is significant in the Islamic calendar as well as in the life of every Muslim. The chief imam, Jos Central Mosque, Sheikh Lawal Adam, emphasizes the importance of emulating the virtues of sacrifice, obedience, and generosity as key to the celebration, adding that Muslims must demonstrate these virtues in their daily lives. He prayed for the country's prosperity, security, and stability as representatives of the Plateau State Governor and some worshippers urged adherents to see the celebration as an opportunity to make amends with God, family, friends, and people from other faiths.
The government wishes everyone a happy Eid al-Kabir and calling on all our youths to celebrate Eid al-Kabir peacefully.
Nigerians should continuously thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his favors.
My message to the Ummah is let them celebrate the Eid in peace.
So I call on Nigerians to be patient, to continue to be prayerful.
Similar Eid prayers held at Jibuis and Fiber Mosques in Jos, where Muslims were urged to imbibe the spirit of the season by reaching out to the needy. In Jos, Indanyan and Abuja, NTA News.
Plateau State holds brighter prospects for turning around economic fortunes of the state and nation through digital economy and sustainable job creation if the potentials in key sectors are properly harnessed. This was the findings of Study Group 1 of the participants of Senior Executive Course 46 of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPS, during the presentation of the group's local study tour of Plateau State. Ijama Ozomina reports.
In line with the theme of study for participants of Senior Executive Course 46, Digital Economy, Youth Empowerment and Sustainable Job Creation in Nigeria, Issues, Challenges and Opportunities, Study Group 1 undertook a tour of some local government areas in the state. The aim is to study the socio-economic, cultural, technological, physical and security environments in harnessing opportunities that abound in these sectors towards stimulating sustainable growth and development of the nation.
We have tried to see that our digital economy aspect of our research is applied to the economy of agriculture, to the sector of agriculture in Plateau State, where we expect the state to leverage the advantage of having the operation of apps, especially agro apps.
Director General of the Institute is optimistic that the findings of the group will create new ideas and opportunities in the digital sector for a greater future.
We'll be traveling to about 7 African countries to look at what they also are doing so that we can leverage whatever we learn from those places to have as input into what we are going to submit to Mr. President.
The governor has actually tasked us to ensure that we make Plateau the ICT hub of the North.
Participants during the interactive session harp on the need for synergy between the federal government and subnationals in proper implementation of viable policies of the research findings through increased investments in the digital economy space. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemena, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Jos. Nationwide continues with Dennis in Abuja after this break.
You're welcome back to Abuja. Now, the Imam of Gombe Central Eid Prayer Ground, Aliu Hamari, led worshippers to observe this year's Eid el-Kabir prayers. Emmanuel Akila reports that the cleric, who drew from the Quranic verse where Prophet Ibrahim was called to sacrifice his son, admonishes Muslims to imbibe the virtues of sacrifice for the good of mankind.
The morning Eid prayer ushers in the Islamic festival of sacrifice. The cleric who unpacked sacrifice says it includes love, sharing and selflessness, which should be done to please the Creator and for the good of mankind. Special prayers were offered for peaceful celebration and divine guidance for Nigeria to overcome her challenges. Imam Aliu Hamari slaughtered the sacrificial lamb to pave way for others to do the same. Away from the Eid ground, Governor Muhammad Inwa Yahaya's Salah message is not different from the cleric's sermon at the Eid grounds, which is of sacrifice for the advancement of the cause of humanity.
I urge you to, in the spirit of this Eid, in the spirit of sacrifice, to sacrifice whatever we have. Sacrifice our time, sacrifice our knowledge, and sacrifice to ensure the sustenance of this country and its people.
During the Salah holiday, people make out time to visit their relations, friends and well-wishers to demonstrate the virtues of the season. In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
Well, here is a compilation of more Eid festivities from some states.
So I pray that here in Nasarawa State, we'll continue to live in peace, we'll continue to work together as a people, and we'll continue to do everything possible to cooperate with our leaders and our security agencies.
We are calling on people to go back to the farm. Government is ready, both the federal and the state government are ready to give all the assistance that is required. And therefore, this issue of food security is very, very paramount to the president and also to the state government. So we'll do everything possible to ensure that food is on the table for the people.
Let the citizens continue to support the government, from the president of our country, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, of course the governor of the Gao State, and all the other traditional rulers that we have in Nigeria.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
We urge Ethiopians to exercise patience, to be prayerful. The hardship that we are encountering is a global one, not only in Yobe, not Nigeria, globally. So we should continue to be prayerful to Almighty Allah to bring succor to this hardship. And we should be prayerful, the man of Allah should give us a bonfire harvest.
It's about tolerance. All Muslims know that we have to tolerate one another. We pray that we should live in harmony so that together we will move the state forward.
Each one of us must make a sacrifice. You will not succeed without sacrifice. So you have to make a sacrifice for whatever you are doing so that at least at the end of it you'll be rewarded.
Allahu Akbar.
Local government,
Right from the local government
har zuwa shugaban kasa,
to the president of Nigeria.
Allah ya masa kyakkyawan jagora.
May God help us and direct us to a good decision.
Su ma su mana kyakkyawan jagora.
A Muslim, what makes us to be here is because of the fulfillment of promise our forefather made. So one is to get that if you made a promise, try to fulfill it, irrespective of the situation you find yourself.
Pray to Lord Almighty Allah. It's the only one that can rescue us. Let us pray for our government. Don't let anybody cause them.
Nationwide now continues in Maiduguri, where Ladidi is standing by. Barka Desala Ladidi. So over to you.
Barka Desala Dennis, and welcome to Maiduguri.
Vice President Kashim Shettima, Acting Governor Umar Usman Kadafuran Shehu of Borno, Abubakar Ibn Umar Garbi Alamin Al-Kanemi were among thousands of Muslim faithful who converged on Ramat Square Eid ground for the 2-unit prayer to usher in Eid al-Adha, which was performed peacefully. Mohammed Gune reports.
Thousands of Muslim faithful cutting across age and gender converged on Ramat Square Eid ground for the 2-unit prayer led by Imam Ideni of Borno, Shettima Mamman Saleh. In a sermon, the Imam Ideni dwelt on the significance of the Eid al-Adha to the Muslim faithful, tracing the rise of sacrificing animals to Prophet Ibrahim, who was commanded by the Lord Almighty to sacrifice his son Ismail, but Allah in his infinite mercy replaced him with a sacrificial animal. He urged the faithful to fear Allah in all their dealings and emulate Prophet Ibrahim in obedience to the Lord Almighty. The Imam also prayed for peace to reign in Borno and the country as a whole, as well as safe return of the pilgrims from the Holy Land. The sacrificial animal was then slaughtered to signal the commencement of Eid al-Kabir. Security operatives were at hand at the Eid ground to ensure law and order. Back at the government house, the acting governor sacrificed a ram as required of all believers who have the wherewithal. In a Salah message, the acting governor Umar Usman Kadafur congratulated Borno citizens on successful Eid al-Kabir celebration and appreciated their continued support to the present administration.
I want to appreciate the Vice President also for visiting Maiduguri to, witness this Eid with the Sheikh of Borno and the people of Borno State. I congratulate all of us and I pray for Allah to keep giving us subsequent Eid so that we should witness many more Eid, inshallah.
The acting governor also prayed for safe return of pilgrims from the Holy Land. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
The Lectured Research Institute Maiduguri at its in-house review meeting and Northeast Zone Refills Workshop initiated strategies toward boosting agricultural production to enhance food security and sustainable livelihood, especially for IDP returnees in the face of challenges posed by climate change. Tinatoro reports that farmers were equipped with knowledge on smarts.
The event, which had in attendance stakeholders in agriculture across the Northeast, equipped farmers with technical knowledge on how to cope with the harsh realities of climate change, as well as innovations that will bolster food production with positive outcomes in the agricultural sector for sustainable livelihood. The Executive Director, Lectured Research Institute Maiduguri, Professor Babagana Kabir Jugudum, noted that 400,000 bags of fertilizer and farming inputs were shared among various local governments for the 2024 farming season, in addition to tractors to encourage mechanized farming through the initiative of the Borno State government tagged Empowering Farmers and Feeding the Nation, key components of the Agricultural Revival Plan.
This is a forum where our scientists, the extension agents, and the farmers all interact to look at the successes already gained.
The guest speakers, Professor Daniel Musa Gwari of the University of Maiduguri and Professor Yusuf Lawan Idrisa of Yobe State University, decried the negative impact of climate change on agriculture, which they described as a threat to food security.
With what is happening here during this workshop, we have every evidence to believe that we will have nothing to worry about food security in Borno.
Climate change, how climate change affects agriculture, why we need to develop resilience, adaptation, and mitigating strategies to climate change, and then come up with climate-smart agricultural practices.
Guests were taken on a tour to see farm produce and processed food products such as flour, snacks, and drinks. In Maiduguri, Tina Turu, NTA News.
Thanks for staying with us. President Bola Tinubu congratulates fathers, including all paternal figures, who have in no small measure contributed to shaping the destiny of the nation by their sacrifice, forbearance, provision, protection, presence, and guidance of the young ones to the noble and true path. The president notes that Father's Day, with origins far deep into the Middle Ages and official roots in West Virginia, United States, where an event was held in 1908 to celebrate 362 men who died in an explosion at a coal mining company, is significant for its purpose as a day set apart to honor all fathers, living, deceased, and paternal figures. President Tinubu affirms that society is in better stead with fathers who rise to the great demand of responsibility, guiding the children through the vagaries of existence and preparing them for the future, as well as bequeathing to them pristine values that money or material comfort cannot provide. But only by personal example of discipline, integrity, service, respect, love, and allegiance to the nation. The President salutes all fathers, the sung and the unsung, who brave the toil of the day and the soreness of the night to provide for their families, describing them as true heroes. President Tinubu urges fathers to stay true to their commitment to positively shaping the destinies of those to whom the future belongs. And be strong and courageous is the message to fathers on the occasion of the 2024 Father's Day. Ifeoma Ojinta reports on the Father's Day celebration at the St. Peter's Anglican Church, Carroll.
It is the turn of fathers to be celebrated as the pillars and strengths of homes and the society. The vicar encouraged fathers on this day to be more committed to God in the face of all challenges.
They are giving this team this year that they should be strong and should be courageous. So our message for our fathers, they are the pillars, they are the source of the home. They are the one that brought succor, that brings security.
Homes, if you guide our children and give them a good upbringing, that will lead them to their future will be brighter for them.
A day like this is a day where we gather to celebrate men, to appreciate God for what God has done for us, and also to remind us the role of a father. You know, a father is supposed to be the head.
Ifeoma Ojinta, NTA News.
In other news, a cartel controlled by a drug baron and his 50-year-old elder sister have been taken down by officers of the Special Operation Unit of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency following the arrest of the siblings and seizure of cocaine and methamphetamine consignments worth over 4.1 billion naira in street value from their hideout in Aba, Abia State. The special operation conducted on Thursday 13th and Friday 14th of June followed months of intelligence gathering, leading to the arrest of the alleged ringleaders and the combined seizure of 20.76 kilograms of cocaine and methamphetamine from them. In a related development, NDLEA operatives in Lagos uncovered a warehouse stocked with a large consignment of codeine-based syrup worth more than 600 million naira in street value, where 4 persons connected with the importation and distribution of the opioid were arrested. In the Federal Capital Territory, 2 suspects were arrested with 3,550 bottles of Akuskura, a new mixture of psychotropic substances, by operatives during a raid on Friday 14th June at Garki Area 10 and Dutse. Meanwhile, officers on Wednesday 12th June busted a squishies making factory at Sabo area of Shagamu town, where 7 suspects were arrested. Raids were conducted at different locations across the country, including Kano, Jigawa, Ogun, Edo, Ekiti, Benue, Oyo, and Anambra states, where different illegal substances were seized and arrests made. A bit on party politics. As the clock ticks towards the People's Democratic Party's election of its leaders from ward, local governments, state and national levels, a cross-section of the PDP leaders, party stalwarts and chieftains in southern Kaduna say the most competent person to occupy the position of the party chairman in Kaduna State is Danjuma Bello Sarki, This came to the fore when the contestant flagged off his campaign in Zone 3 of the state. Ben Mitu has details.
Party faithful came out in their numbers in support of a man whom they described as competent, fearless, dogged, and a true Democrat who has the character and charisma to change the story of the party from backwardness to progress. Leaders of the PDP and other key players said Danjuma Bello Sarki is the only one among the contestants that has the capacity to change the fortune of the party for good.
We know who he is and we know what he is capable of doing.
All the credentials that one requires to provide this party leadership, and all is encapsulated in this person.
That's right.
We can only make it right when we choose the right leader, when we choose somebody that knows the pain of the people.
He has a propensity to stir the affairs of the party.
The contestant, who has been an activist, said he has listened to the clarion call to serve, and he has offered himself for the service of the party in Kaduna State.
I have a new vision for PDP. Yes. I am going to be a bridge between the young and the old.
He assured the party faithful that he has all it takes to reposition the party and lead it to victory in all elections. There was a general consensus among the party stalwarts that it is time to engage more youths in its leadership hierarchy for a promising future. Ben Mitu, NTA News.
Talking health, the impact of the human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, on society since the first case was reported in Nigeria back in 1985 has been a source of worry. The Christian Council of Nigeria is therefore urging government, stakeholders and global partners not to lower their guard in combating the spread of the killer virus. Kenneth Nanim reports.
The states that have not implemented the anti-stigma law, we encourage them to enforce it, so that when people are stigmatized because they are HIV positive, they have to pay a fine.
With the understanding that HIV is not a death sentence on humanity, the Christian Council of Nigeria (CCN) says in the last 7 years, it has championed campaigns in 8 states across the country, creating more awareness on prevention, treatment, and management of the virus. Now, the Council is seeking more partnerships in combating further spread of the disease, especially amongst children.
We need more collaboration and then sensitization from the government side, so that the number, because government has the structure to deal with so many situations, especially that affect humanity.
Ending stigmatization and discrimination against persons living with the virus is another area requiring decisive action by relevant authorities.
And again, we are saying the religious leaders should stop insisting that people should bring them tests from labs because they want to wait. Testing is a personal thing. Let somebody know his or her status, and that is all. And he knows what next to do. You refer them to the clinics where they will get attention.
While calling for an inclusive action to end the scourge, the Council also says it has mainstreamed various programs aimed at galvanizing the youths, religious and traditional institutions in promoting healthy living amongst communities. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
And that report concludes Nationwide. Thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adegunloye. From all of us here, enjoy the rest of your Salah celebrations.